So are you willing to share some dialogue, or are you ready to throw in the towel?
No, it's put it back in and we'll see. It does fire now better, but still a problem.
All right, Bob is back at it again, and as you can see, the legs hanging out from underneath the van. He's doing round 2 of fixing the diesel heater.
Now just installing the ESPAR in. Seeing I got it to work yesterday, I'm just basically running the fuel line over, which was already over, but I pulled it in order to test. So the only issue we have is I have protectant, wax protectant underneath here, and so it gets all over my hands, but
keeps the bottom of the van from rusting.
Yeah.
And you did that yourself.
Right. So it's worth it. It's a pain in the butt because of the, it gets all over your hands. So.
And the other issue is my bacon is probably burning. I am making breakfast this morning and then bacon for BLTs, but the van is a disaster right now. But I'm still making breakfast and planning ahead for BLTs for lunch or dinner today. So we will keep you posted on how the heater is going.
So hooking up the pump, I put it underneath the seat. Most people put it underneath the vehicle. I find it easier in here. This one's actually a silent one, but the other one was not, and it was still fine. So it's easier to troubleshoot when you're not underneath the van. So this, I think this works very well having it in here. It's diesel, so it's not explosive. It's safe to have rolling through here. So.
All right, you've been working on this for a couple hours this morning. What's the new verdict? Current verdict?
No, it's not a new verdict. It's more the, it wasn't firing this morning because it wasn't getting the proper fuel. So I siphoned the fuel over and now it's working. So now the question is, do I need to keep the pump below the tank or, equal to the tank, or can I have it up in the seat box like I did with the other one? So we don't know. We'll see, because maybe it loses its siphon when it's like that. So
true. I
might have to put it back to where I had it, which was on that side, which is okay, but now it's working fine because it's getting the proper feel. So
we've heard that one before. Keep plugging away.
This is like a comedy of errors, but not, or I shouldn't say errors. This is a comedy of troubles. This fuel line, which came with the Chinese diesel heater, had a hole in it. So when the pump was up in the front underneath the pedal still here, it was pulling, and so it would just pull air, and then partially it wasn't a huge hole, it'd pull air. So when I switched the pump back underneath the chassis, so now the pump is underneath there, then it was pushing. So it would grab the fuel, the diesel, from the tank of the Sprinter, and then it would push it. And so then all of a sudden I could see the leak. So once I fixed that, that took care of the darn fuel not coming in. Now it's running good. It's still smoked on startup, so the glow plug still may be an issue, and it for sure would be as far as I have 2 glow plugs on order. I have an extra pump on order, and what else do I have on order? I guess that's it. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I ordered. I ordered a more simplified control panel. So this one on the Chinese diesel heater, this red item over here on the wall, that controls the on-off and the temperature and other things on the heater. The one that comes with the fancy one that comes with the ESPAR heater is, I have it just temporarily here until I figure out everything, is much more complex. So to turn on the heater in the middle of the night, I need to go through menu options to get it to turn on. So I ordered one that should be simpler, that has an on and off and up down for temperature. So we'll see how that works. So I read yesterday or last evening on the Chinese diesel heaters, which is the same thing. I just used their forum on Facebook to get some information. Somebody suggested to somebody else to blow into the intake while it's smoking and see what happens if it fires up. And sure enough, I took the intake off, which is the intake into the combustion chamber, and then the exhaust goes out. As soon as I blew into that, it fired up, stopped smoking, it ran perfect. So it's something to do with the amount of air that it's getting. So the amount of fuel is too much for the amount of air. So it's either too much fuel or not enough air. I'm thinking not enough air, but it's total guess. The key for me is to keep on it and don't give up until, don't stop until I get it fixed. Otherwise I have to restart everything. Anyway, next up is to pull the intake, see what happens. If that doesn't work, most likely I'll have to pull it back out of the seat, which is not that hard. So one thing on these diesel heaters, I don't know if you see it. So this is where the glow plug goes. And then in here, there's a little hole, which is on the side here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'll move my hand. And it should go through there. So you have to make sure that that hole, if you can see it in there, is clear. You can see it moving back and forth. I tested the voltage going into the plug. As far as I can go in, which is 13.1 volts. I have the new glow plug here, and I'm going to install that. Alright, I'm going to fire up the heater, and we're going to see what the glow plug does. So let's set that up. Fan should kick on. It does. Here's the glow plug. So now we'll see if the glow plug ends up getting red. So that tells me the glow plug is working fine. I mean, that is very hot.
So now it looks like we got both diesel heaters apart. Is that what is happening right now?
Yeah, so what I decided to do was pull out this one. They're very simple. There's very little to it. The question would be, like, this computer is a black box, of course, so that could be an issue. I don't know. But all of it's very simple. Nothing's clawed. I didn't see any issue, but I'm basically going to compare it to this Chinese diesel heater to see if I can see something that's a little different from, like, something that's working or not working. So that's what the plan is now. And we didn't have time when this was brand new, and like I said, that's close to $2,000 compared to $150 on this. It's just right now we have some time to mess with it, so that's why I'm doing it. Otherwise, what we may end up doing is just going back to this. But you can tell this quality is a lot less than this. It could be one component. It could be one thing that I did wrong. It could be that I have the field line incorrect. It could be so many different factors. So it's not for sure anything to do with the ESPAR. But basically want to see what this one looks like inside here to get comparison. It looks basically like the other one. But here's a good example of people talk about them getting carboned up. We've run this one for 6 months, and like some days, 12, 13-hour days, and there's very little carbon, if any. So
all right, what variables are we doing now? What are we ruling out?
Well, when we run it on its side, it tends to run okay, even though it's smoking now a little bit. But it's crazy amount of smoke otherwise. When it's running on its side, it seems to work better than when it's on its belly, and it needs to be on its belly when it goes into the seat. So trying to figure out the different variations. We're moving it from here to there, and when it's on its side down there, it works really good. here it smokes a little bit, but not very much. But when we put it on its belly, then it just billows smoke.
Yeah.
So, but that could still be that fuel pump and how it has to deliver the fuels.
So now we put it on its belly, and clearly that is a problem.
But now it starts up.
But now it starts up because now we put it back on its side. And now there's no smoke when it's back on its side.
Well, because it fires.
Because it's fired. And so we now ruled out a variable.
Well, that's not true. We need to fix why it's making it to be on its belly. Change the fuel filter, it didn't make a difference. Put it on its belly and it smokes crazily. So here's the situation. This is the normal orientation. You can have it on its side too. So you can mount it on its side or on its belly, both ways. But it's made to be mounted on its belly and the side. So when it's on its belly, it's like this. The fuel comes in here and it gets pushed through a screen, and that screen kind of like puts it into droplets, and then it hits the glow plug. So it goes in here into here. So when it's like this, it's potentially that pump's not strong enough in the way it's installed, that it's not going through that screen and instead going down the side and not hitting that glow plug. It's a theory. When it's on its side, we have it working perfectly. It works every time. Every time immediately fires up when it's on its side. So that's potentially, fuel comes in the line here, then it goes into the chamber where the glow plug is, it hits that screening, but instead of just dribbling down, it has no, gravity is going to bring it across and across that glow plug. So then that glow plug fires. It's potentially, I mean, it's logical that that would be the case. That may be the case. So two things it possibly can be, or I shouldn't say two things. One thing that could possibly be is the pump is defective, and potentially from day one, or the wiring is off or something. I mean, I have a new pump coming, so that'll help. But what we're going to try now is bring the pump out and put it right into a kerosene container, put the heater on its belly, and try it.
And see if it's
Every time we go to its belly, it smokes. Every time we put it back over when it's down on the ground, or even up here, I think the same, no smoke.
Yeah.
So perfect on its side, smoke like crazy on its belly. So we're going to try and bring it closer, see if that pump is just not strong enough, and maybe there's a defective pump. So I mean, it could be what we're trying to find is that one defective piece that like we fix, and then it's like it runs forever.
So are you willing to share some dialogue, or are you ready to throw in the towel?
Now it's put it back in and we'll see. It does fire now better, but still a problem. So I don't know. The other option or other piece of the puzzle is the fuel pump, which is coming from the UK. So we'll wait to see, because you never know. Maybe it was that fuel pump. It'd be nice to have one thing that was a problem all along. Doesn't matter. I don't care what it was. And then be like, okay, now it'll work. So fingers crossed.
We are packing it up for the night. Bob's brain needs a break and he needs a fresh new start in the morning. Our package will arrive from the UK tomorrow, so stay tuned for part 3 and hopefully a working diesel heater. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.